Today, I want to discuss with you a mindset that I believe will help you become profitable in your business, recognized amongst your colleagues, and respected in your field. It's the very mindset that took me from a young lad where I became the very first person to be recognized as Volunteer of the Year at a prestigious hospital in my area, to then becoming a junior manager for a large corporate beauty brand, to then going on to manage 3 successful beauty brands, and going from there to work with major brands like Chevrolet, Volkswagen, and Lincoln, to name a few. And then working in production with major production houses owned by household names like Curtis 50 Cent Jackson and Oprah Winfrey. Listen, this very mindset is something that I believe will make you a success, and I want to share it with you today. Hi, I'm Cornell Jermaine, friend to the brand and voice of the consumer. Thank you for joining me here for another episode. As I lean into this mindset and share something with you that I believe will help you become profitable in your business, recognized amongst your colleagues, and respected in your field, I can't help but to think of a story that happened, and I think it's one that is compelling and necessary to help build the framework that I want to build for you in this particular episode. I am a part of productions in many facets, right? And I remember a time where I was just feeling a kind of way. I was in my feelings about things and just looking for things for myself and working out some situations in my own life and business and things of that nature. And I was assigned to be a part of a particular production. And I remember thinking, and this is something in a production I had been a part of for many, many years and still am, but this particular year I was not feeling it. And just for whatever reason, right? So I had to refrain from going. Now, everything was in place. I mean, there was no need for me not to go because I had the resources to go. The time was available. I was just kind of in a funk. And I was in a funk because I was thinking and working through some things. And for some reason, I felt that this particular production didn't need me. You know, oh, they got so-and-so, they got this one, they got that one. They can figure it out. And I know there are many of you who get in that vein, you know, where you're a part of something and it becomes an expectation that you're there to fulfill your part and your role, and you just get into a season where you're just not feeling it, you know what I mean? And it's easy to fall back and to say, they got it, they'll handle it, so-and-so can do it, to put the responsibility on someone else or another group. Well, that's what I did in this particular season. And I remember saying, okay, I'm not going. And I began, as I made the resolution and came to the decision in my mind, I then started to voice it to a couple of people around me who were also a part of the particular production. And they were like, really? You're not, you know? And I said, no, I ain't going this year. You know, I'm not gonna do it. Maybe next time. And all of them, they left, went on. They were in the pre-production mode. You know, and if you're in production, you understand what that is. You start preparing and doing all the pre-work for production. And I remember after the group that had left my city went, first it was a little relief, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get some time to work on my stuff and I ain't got a fool and try to think about everything, you know, else that has to be happening, you know, for other things and other people, all that kind of stuff. But it wasn't 24 hours that this group had left to where my spirit began to weep. And it would be 2 days before I come to the realization that I had to go. And I remember laying in the bed thinking, you know, of all the things that I was gonna get done because I had this free time. And if you've ever been in production, you understand that it can take over your life, right? You know, for whatever that season is that you're working on that production, whether it's 3 days, a week, a couple of months, it will take over. And I'm talking about anything from live production to film to commercial, any kind of production, theater, all those things. It becomes all consuming for that length or that duration of time. And I remember thinking like, oh, I ain't gotta deal with that. Okay, I can focus on this. But my spirit was felt out of alignment. And it was the second day that I had missed. And all of a sudden I woke up that morning with an urgency. I had to get there. Now, I had already said I wasn't gonna be there. One of the managers had reached out to me after that first day and said, hey, just checking to see when you're flying in or when you're gonna get in town. You know, because in production, everybody's kind of coming from different places. And sometimes the first few days in pre-production, people are flying in at different times, right? Different departments, all of that thing. So she was curious about when my flight was going to arrive. And I told her, and this is the first time I'm speaking it to her. I had told other people, but this is my first time I'd spoken it to her. And I said, well, I'm not going to do it this time. So-and-so is coming. They're going to be there. You know, I'll catch you guys next time, but I'm wishing you the best, etc. And she said, okay. And I remember feeling this urgency, like I had to be there. I had to get there. It was almost as if the things I had decided to do and focus on in that time, I could not focus on. I couldn't turn my mind or my spirit off to even peacefully sit and work through whatever the things is I was thinking I needed to work on in that time. An urgency came over me all of a sudden, and I got on and I looked for flights. Now, mind you, I had already had a flight book, had a hotel book. I was going to be a part of this production. Everything was in place. I canceled it all. I went back in, I looked at the flights and I saw the flights were still reasonable. I was able to get my flight with that same credit that I had canceled. And I said, okay, well, that's fine. The hotel had already been booked. They had some rooms still available. So I booked it and I got on the next thing smoking. Come to find out, after being in production about 2 days, there was a specific emergency need that only I could handle within my department. Now, there were other people who could have probably helped, but I had the specific expertise to handle this issue that arose. And I was the best person for it because I had experienced it before. I had the wherewithal to handle the weight of the experience that happened. The other people on the team did not. I remember when the emergency happened, I was at the table during lunch and the individual came to me and said, hey, we need you real quick. And when I laid my eyes on the situation and I came to realize what was taking place, I immediately went into work mode. I immediately went into mode of helping and serving in that area. And after a day or so, the resolve came and things moved smoothly. There was no disruption in production. There was no disruption amongst the crew, because sometimes things happen when you're in work or production or whatever, and they can disrupt the whole environment, causing chaos and all kind of frustration to everybody in other departments. It never happened. I was able to go in and conceal that, handle it, and bring resolve without disrupting the flow. It was in that moment that I realized that my presence in that production was bigger than just what I thought. And I think that's true for many of you. You think your role is just this, but really there's a bigger picture at play. And if you look at your life, look at what it is that you contribute, you have more to offer than you've given yourself credit. Which means when it comes to you serving, you have to realize that it has nothing to do with your emotions. In that moment, I was in my emotion, frustrated and dealing with things in my emotions, right? It has nothing to do with your ego. Oh, they don't need me. I'm good. They don't need me. They can do it. All these emotional and egotistical frameworks that often come out in our service. Well, let me help you understand. They do need you. Your role is significant. And until you show up, the assignment will be left undone. Now, there are seasons where you may work in one vein and choose to work in another. That's different. But I'm speaking of, which was my case, where you are called to serve in a specific place, in a specific area, for a specific assignment. That's what I'm speaking to. And those who know that, you know that. And if you refuse to show up and you refuse to go because of whatever, then you have forsaken the assignment that you have. Now, the mindset that was at play, even in this circumstance, that was also at play in previous years when I was Volunteer of the Year, junior manager for a corporate brand, managing 3 beauty brands, working for production houses and working with major brands like Chevrolet and Volkswagen and Lincoln, to name a few. The mindset that caused me to show up and even get those kind of opportunities and even open doors that I could work in these positions was 4 simple words. And it's a mindset that I believe you need to develop and take as your own. It's a statement that you declare over you. And it's very simple. It's a realization that I've had that I know you should have in order to endeavor and move forward in whatever assignment that you have. And it's simple. I'm here to serve. That's bigger than your emotions. It's greater than your ego. It has to do with you and the downloaded intuitive nature, the creative nature, the specific way that God uses you and how that's needed in various scenarios, in various situations, in various organizations. How can this serve you and help you become profitable in your business, recognized amongst your colleagues, and respected in your field? It's very simple. When you show up to serve, it speaks to everyone and everything involved that, hey, I'm not here for myself, I'm here for you. And guess what? When you show up to serve others, the universe, God, creates an atmosphere where that situation, that circumstance, that job, that group of people will somehow automatically reciprocate and serve you. There's something for you to get out of the deal. And you know what I got out of the deal? In that specific situation is God showed me the power and the real gifting that I have to offer in some situations. I was stretched in ways I didn't realize I had capacity for. So I didn't show up just to serve. I showed up to be served. And if you do the same thing, show up to serve others, situations, people will serve you. It's the law of giving and receiving, right? It's the law of sowing and reaping. Understand that you play a role in your destiny. And simply serving is you saying, hey, how can I help? Hey, how can I be a part? Hey, what do you need from me? However you want to word it, show up to serve, and it will make your business more profitable. Your customers will love you. Your colleagues, they'll recognize you. Because guess what? That's not a framework that many people show up with. That's not a mindset that many people show up with. Most people show up to be served. They come to get. They come to take. And when you come to take, you're depleting. You're causing deficit. Why? Because you're thinking of you. You're hoarding for you. And that shows up in the environment, in the people that you're working with. You ever been around somebody like that? You show up and after you leave their presence, you're depleted of energy. That's because they came to serve themselves in that scenario. They came to get their attention of you. They came to take. I want this. Oh, woe is me. This is what happened yesterday. Oh, I need your help. Oh, pray for me. Okay. They're depleting, causing a deficit in your energy. They didn't show up to serve. They came to be served. They came to take. But when you show up to serve, your colleagues, and this is why, let's be frank, this is why I've been blessed to be able to be in various sectors and fields, to work with major players in their respective fields, because I show up with this mindset. You should do the same thing. And eventually, you'll be respected in whatever field that you have been called to work in. Because people will see you coming and invite you in. You know, sometimes you see some people coming and you running away. You like, oh, here she comes. Oh, here he comes. Oh, and people's heads start hanging down, you know, because they don't want to be bothered. It'll be different for you, because without you even voicing it, without you having even to say, I'm here to serve, how can I serve? You don't even have to say it. It shows up in your behavior. It'll show up in your actions. It'll show up in how you respond to situations, and people will recognize you and celebrate you for it. And guess what? More importantly, they'll want to do it all over again every time with you. The best thing I heard from one of the producers I worked with, and I get this sometimes in other fields and sectors that I work in. But this particular producer told me, she came to me once and she said, hey, you're gonna be able to be available for such and such and such and such. She gave me some dates and the rundown. I said, oh yeah, absolutely. She said, because you know we can't do it without you. And I was like, you know, I smiled and I shook my head and laughed, you know, but I sat with that thing and she really meant it. She's like, no, serious. She said, I couldn't do this without you. And it allowed me to see the value that I bring. And that's what you want to bring. That's what you bring when you come with this simple mindset. I'm here to serve. You bring value. So I hope this mindset helps you in your businesses, in your field of study, in your work, in your assignment, whatever that may be, your community. I hope it helps you. Adopt this mindset for yourself and utilize it in every area that you can. And obviously, when you feel depleted and your energy is maybe at a low, take some time to refresh yourself, right? Because you're not a machine. But automatically, I'm telling you, if it's in you and it's for you, you'll go even when you're tired, because it's just, I love it. This is what I do, and I love serving in whatever capacity that is. Develop this mindset for yourself. I believe it will serve you, your businesses, and your community, and ultimately help you to develop success, prosperity, wealth, honor, riches, respect for your life. This is Cornell Jermaine, and I thank you for joining me here for another episode. Listen, don't forget to like this video, share it with a friend, and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you back here, same place, same time, next week. Take care.